NSFW, what's the one thing you'll never do because of childhood trauma?
Drink alcohol. Years, decades even of drunk verbal and physical abuse growing up, seeing nothing in the fridge but beer, wine, and liquor, standing at the grocery store checkout as they put back the milk, bread, and cereal to afford all the cases of beer. Instead, the total consistent dependency on always being buzzed, smelling it come off their breath as they yell me while still trying to understand their slurred speech, scolding me over something I promised myself I would not go down that path. I raised my kids in a sober household away from that experience of drunk parents I had to endure.
Honest and purely curious question as someone who was raised by a functioning but non-abusive alcoholic. When it was / when it is time and your children become / became of age to drink, what is your game plan?
I'll never place any figure too high on a pedestal. Seriously, I don't want to bash on the church too much, but you tell a kid over and over again that the priest is a man of God or whatever, he'll believe that the man basically is God. That kid will then go on to think that the priest can do nothing wrong, and the priest will use that against the kid as well. Seriously, it has been like over 20 years and there have been so many positive figures in my life. Coaches, bosses, coworkers, professors. But I'm always too scared to get too close to them or admire them too much because I think there might be something they are hiding.
This is so interesting because with my trauma, I catch myself idolizing certain people a lot and then feeling rageful when they don't meet my unrealistic standards or let me down in any small way.
Oh yeah, trauma affects everyone differently. I hope that you're healing and in a good place.
When I was 5, maybe 6, my mother sent me to use the bathroom by myself at the mall. I guess I was at that age where she felt it was no longer appropriate to take me into the ladies' bathroom with her, and family bathrooms weren't a thing in the early 80s where I was from. Anyway, little me standing at a urinal, suddenly grabbed by the back of my shirt, hand clamped on my mouth to not scream, I was dragged into a stall. I don't believe much happened to me. I can't remember if I was actually assaulted or not, but I put up some sort of fight. From then until I was 32 years old, I never used a public bathroom. If I had to go, I would just hold it until I got home. You can imagine how limiting this was. Over the last 14 years, I've managed to be able to use a public bathroom if it is one that has a lock on the door and no one else can be in there at the same time. To this day, I'm still traumatized by this.
When I was 9, I was at Disney World, and a complete stranger adult male grabbed me from behind. Literally wrapped his arms around my chest, and put his mouth really close to my ear and asked me where my parents were. I completely shut down. I was paralyzed with fear. I'm still not sure what happened. It was so shocking. He let go. Sometimes I think I imagined it, but it was so vivid. I never told anyone. I'm still kind of scared from that.
That terrifying.
Go on the zipper at the county fair.
Go on.
Talk to my mom about problems I tried, but she victimizes herself by saying that she is the worst mother, cries in his bedroom and says that I am a horrible son.
LOL. Hello sibling. When I told my mom I was depressed and suicidal, she cried for a day and was like, what did I do wrong? And then did absolutely nothing about it and never mentioned it again. She was a huge beep to me as a kid. My actual brother was allowed to do basically anything he wanted. He got therapy when he was self-harming. I specifically asked for therapy and never saw anyone.
Let me guess, you were the oldest. People don't want to admit it or talk about it in the open, but most parents are winging it on their first kid to the degree that they had no business having kids in the first place. They apply the lessons learned with the first one to the ones that follow.
Feel comfortable around other men. I can be around men, but I don't think I'll ever be comfortable with them. I am 30 and I still can't eat or even touch tomatoes because of the consequences of not eating dinner as a child. Also can't not finish my plate even if I am stuffed for the same reason.
Luckily, pediatricians have changed their guidance on this. Nowadays, they tell you to let your kid let you know when they're full. If you force them to eat everything on their plate, it causes overeating issues later in life. Unfortunately, it's a huge factor of why obesity is so rampant in the US.
My mom was traumatized by being forced to eat food as a child, so she never did that to us growing up. I stop eating when I'm full, not stuffed. I'm so happy that I've never been part of the clean plate club. It's so unnecessary.
Leave my kids unattended when adults are around them. Even if I've known them for many years, I don't think I could ever let them out of my sight without probably having a panic attack.
My parents were quite neglectful in the sense that they trusted any capable-looking adult to pick us up from school while they worked. While nothing severe really came out of it, thank God, it still runs its risk. I appreciate the ones that were better caretakers than my parents. Shout out to Sammy and Gloria.
I can't really eat spaghetti. There was a year where we didn't have much money and we had spaghetti about 6 days of the week. I can eat and enjoy other pasta, but spaghetti just makes me cringe and my stomach feel tight when I eat it. If a friend made it when I was visiting, I'd eat it, but I don't enjoy it. A lot of things really. The main one being we'll never be able to fully trust anyone.
Never telling one person everything is what I go by.
Live in the US North again. I was raised there, it was beep awful cold, and when I was about 10 I fell in an ice fishing hole. Once I graduated HS I was gone forever to Florida where it's warm and I don't ever have to tolerate snow or ice again. I have zero tolerance for the cold anymore, I can't stand anything below about 75°F.
This is the most innocent answer.
Ask for help when I need it. Trust people fully. I'll never believe a compliment. I have an extremely hard time believing that people actually like me. I'm always waiting for them to turn on me and prove me right in this regard. The only person I actually believe that actually likes me is my wife, and we've been married for almost 22 years. Show up late. My parents drove me late to everything and also picked me up late. I was perpetually like Bart when Homer forgot to pick him up. I also had to learn how to put my hockey gear on in like 4 seconds or get bench/skate laps.
I remember sitting by the door ready to go when I was a kid, begging to leave on time so I didn't have to do extra drills. As an adult, I was teaching dance classes for a while, and the studio policy I would not enforce in my class was to punish the kids who were late with extra and excessive drills. When you see the same 10-year-old late every class, it's probably not her fault.
My family was not abusive physically or verbally, but emotionally there was little communication. They tried, but our love languages were too different and my dad simply couldn't bridge the gap. So it's a number one goal with my kids that they feel heard, listened to, and always have a voice.
Holy beeper, you me? Felt like I just read a comment by myself.
Get married/have kids. Witnessing bad examples turned me off to the idea of doing either. Even though I know better than to repeat the same mistakes, I just feel like the best guarantee is not signing up.
I was in the same boat until I met my wife and she became pregnant. Kids have a funny way of reshuffling your priorities when you are beat-bent on breaking that cycle. All my son knows is love and support, and I would slit my own throat to make sure he gets every opportunity in the world and never doubts for a second that he's loved. Best of luck, and I wish you well in all endeavors. If you have a kid or stick to your guns, just do either with conviction. In either scenario, it's not where you came from that has to define you, it's where you're going, and who you want to be.
Does becoming a parent make you realize just how easy it is to love and care for a child in the right way? I hear a lot that when abused people get children of their own, they find themselves surprised at how easy it is to not be mad at them.
I will not have children. I will also not consume alcohol.
Same.
My favorite person has borderline personality disorder. Essentially, BPD results from physical and sexual abuse trauma as a child. Spending time with her and learning to understand the fallout of it, I have developed a white-hot vicious anger for incompetent parents to abuse their kids. The beep she went through makes me so angry that someone would consciously do that to their daughter. So if anything, I would never, ever hurt my children like that.
As someone with BPD, thank you for understanding us and having the patience. It's also understandable for someone to walk away, because BPD can be a lot, but you didn't. And that will help heal that person, and it's really amazing and beautiful that you're willing to be in that position.
Never break a kid's bones or put cigs out on them. Want starve them, lock them in cupboards, choose drugs over them, force them to become a parent to their younger siblings. Not have them go without Christmas and birthday presents. Not make them go steal beep to fund a habit. List goes on, but safe to say, my kids will have an amazing childhood.